everyone joining. Happy to have everyone joining us today. And we're just going to kick this off right away because we have lots of guests on today's training. So welcome. Just a quick little bit about Montana Child Care Business Connect, who we are and what we do. We're focused on supporting communities and entrepreneurs with business elements of starting, owning, and operating a childcare program in the state of Montana. Founded in 2022, we're Montana's statewide hub for childcare business development and innovation. We work to provide services in the following 5 areas: training for ECP credits and continued business education, technical assistance through individual business consultants, community capacity building programs, peer-to-peer business mentoring, and we have an amazing, robust web resource hub that's available for anyone. Hello, Haida has asked that you guys put your name and business ECE number in the credits so that we can get you your ECP credits today. So thank you. This is our Montana Child Care Business Connect team. We are led by Rhonda Schwenke. Alex DuBois is our Business and Community Engagement Manager. Jason Nitschke is our Senior Child Care Business Advisor. My name is Kendra Edlin. I'm the Child Care Business Advisor. Haida Borgnovo is our Communications Outreach Coordinator. She's on the call with us today. Shelby Whalen is our Community Navigator, and Richard Heisman is our Program Assistant. He really is kind of what keeps us all going and in line here. I wanted to share with the group today a little bit about what we're going to talk about today is the ecosystem that we have here in the state of Montana. And we're working with a licensor who's going to answer any of your questions that you have on childcare licensing today. And we have the joy of having 2 different CCR&R experts on with us today as well. And I just wanted to highlight to you that we do have 7 CCR&R regions here in the state of Montana. And you can find this ecosystem map on our website anytime you want to go and understand that. So our first speaker that I'm going to introduce all 3 of our speakers first, and then we'll kick off with some questions. If you have any questions specifically for our licensor or for a CCR&R, please drop those questions in the chat or unmute yourself and bring yourself up, and we can go over those questions so that we can all get all of our answers. So first off, I want to thank and welcome Fern Sutherland, who's a fantastic licensor up in the Kalispell area. Fern has been a licensor since 1997, so I think she knows what she's doing. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Montana. Her caseloads cover Flathead Lake, Sanders counties, with some of Missoula's providers as well. She has 2 sons and feels very blessed that they remain here in the great state of Montana. And in her free time, she enjoys golfing with her husband. It causes fights at my house, Fern. We're happy that you enjoy it. And second today, I would really like to invite and welcome Kim Polich, who's a CCR&R program manager in Butte, and she works at the Butte 4 Cs. Kim's been at the Butte 4 Cs for 15 years. She's the Child Care Resource and Referral Program Manager. Her main work is working with child care providers, providing technical assistance in a variety of areas, including STARS consulting and leadership training. Kim also works CPS, Best Beginning Scholarship, and can assist providers with the CCUBS Provider Portal. So welcome, Kim. We're so happy you're here. And Brandy Thomas, who's Provider Services Supervisor at Child Care Connections. Brandy, we're so happy that you're joining us today. She's a Montana native, has lived in Helena and East Helena most of her life. She's graduated with a BA in elementary education and an associate's in business administration from Carroll College in 1998. She then completed an AA in early childhood education from Western in 2004. She earned one of the first P3 certificates awarded in Montana. Brandy's passionate about working with young children and has been in the early childhood field in various roles for over 20 years. Brandy is currently the provider services supervisor for Child Care Connections. Thanks for joining us today, Brandy. We're happy to have you on the call. So we're going to start with you, Fern. We have a couple of questions. And again, I'm just going to encourage all of our participants to add into the chat any of your questions that you have that I can bring up for our speakers. This is your session to ask them anything you want. But we're going to start with, what are the most common deficiencies that you see as a child care licensor out there in the field?
Thanks, Kendra. Unfortunately, the most common deficiencies have to do with infant care, and they're our most vulnerable population. So that is sad. But a teacher might lay down a baby with an unsafe sleep sack, or maybe a baby has fallen asleep in a swing or bouncy seat and hasn't yet been transitioned to a flat surface. Those are the most common ones. If you're uncertain which safe sleep sacks are allowed and which safe sleep sacks aren't, we have a new tool on our licensing website that we would like to promote, and that is the sleep sack guidance sheet. It's new to the licensing website, and you'll find it under resources. The other two most common deficiencies are unapproved caregivers and ratios. And we all know that it's a difficult walking the timeline and time of submitting paperwork and starting the person to get them to be an approved caregiver. So that FBI check has to be in. And the ratios, that's when you're either out of compliance with having too many children than allowed, or not enough approved caregivers on site.
Okay, great. Any questions out there so far on deficiencies from any of our viewers? Okay, we're going to move on. My next question for you is, can you share with the group a little bit about your new enforcement guidebook?
Yeah, you're hot off the presses there. We are developing within licensing an enforcement guide that takes a risk approach to writing deficiencies. And so each rule will be rated as the low, medium, or high risk based on experience and what it is and how much harm it would bring to a child if it was not, if the rule was not adhered to. And so there are some deficiency or some rules that wouldn't require a deficiency. If you broke it the first time, it wouldn't, we'd just tell you about it, you'd correct it, and it would all be better. The low risk ones would be then only cited as a deficiency if it keeps happening over and over and over again. So it's a risk-based and frequency-based situation. The others that are high risk would be an automatic deficiency even the very first time a licensor sees it, depending on the risk level that it's been associated with. Currently, the enforcement guide is just being developed and utilized as an internal licensing document. But once it's been tweaked and refined and all the rules are rated, we haven't got through all of them yet, it will be eventually put on the licensing website as a resource for providers that they can go and look at.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful, exciting.
Yeah,
Any
hot
questions?
off the presses there.
Any questions or thoughts from our participants out there on the new enforcement guidebook? Please raise your hand, jump into the chat, take yourself off mute. Any way you want to communicate with us, we are happy. We will stop what we're doing to answer your questions today. And then my last question for you today is about what the renewal process entails for childcare facilities. And we were just kind of hoping from the licensor standpoint, what is that process like?
Wow, from the licensor's viewpoint. The best tip I can give everybody for the renewal process going smoothly is to submit your renewal within the 90 days ahead of expiration. You get the reminder letter at 120, I believe, and it tells you to submit your renewal within 90 days of your expiration date. For those that do that, it runs smoother. The other tip is obviously the more complete your renewal is, the trainings are all done, your CPR is not expired, you've uploaded it to the practitioner registry, all those things, your insurance is intact, all those things help a renewal go smoother. But it takes time for processing, and we all have to be patient with licensing techs in Helena that process, because they do a lot of work. Not only are they doing renewal applications, but also new applications and the new hire paperwork. So the licensing technician that's assigned to your area as a provider has lots of people to process. And if they are processing your paperwork and they find something missing, they'll send a missing information email. It used to be by letters. I've been doing this for hundreds of years. 1997 was probably before some of you were born. And when I started this job, and it used to go out via letter, but now it's email, and it tells you we're missing these items for your email or for your renewal. And the faster you respond to that, the better off you'll be in processing. Another vital tip that I'd like to give is please, please, please use your provider number that's been assigned to you on each and every item of correspondence. Because if they receive something in Helena and it doesn't have a provider number on it, it goes nowhere, because it's a lot of work to look up, okay, here's a name on it. Well, let's go from there. So use your provider number, please, please, please. The other little tip is periodically check your spam or junk mail, because those emails might be going there. And this happened recently to a provider on my own caseload that was sent missing information emails in October and November, and she had no clue that they were there because she wasn't checking her junk mail. So yeah, little tip there. Hopefully we try to refine the renewal process, and you're truly not late and to suffer a lapse unless you're beyond your expiration date. But boy, if you can get it in earlier, before you expire, then the better off your processing will be.
That's great. Well, perfect. Any questions for Fern before we move on to our CCR&R guests today? Okay, well, I am going to start. This next question is for Brandy. And Brandy, we are looking to see what you can share with the group about the services that CCR&Rs have for providers and families.
So yes, thank you. So Child Care Resource and Referral Agencies, we're kind of an interesting little group. Like you had said, there are 7 regions that we serve. There's 6 offices essentially within those 7. We all have the same or close to the same contract with the state. So there are services that we provide across the state through our different offices. And then each R&R has their own other things that they do as well. So for example, some of the things that Butte Foresees does, we may not do. we have some things that they don't do. But in general, what we do is really, in a nutshell, we help families find and pay for childcare. So we administer the Best Beginning Scholarship Program through our contract with the state. And then we have a referral service for all families, not just Best Beginnings families, to help them find childcare. We also work on the provider side of things where, again, in a very shortened version of what we do, we help providers with anything that they're going to need. So getting licensed, staying licensed, finding trainings that they need, CPR first aid, just basically any help that we can provide to a provider. We are here for that. Kim mentioned in her bio that, and I just didn't list all of my hats because that'd been a whole page, but we work with the STARS programs, which is our quality rating improvement system in the state. We work closely with them. We have coaching available, consulting available. Coaching's now for anybody, not just STARS programs. We do a lot of new provider supports. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more I'm missing, but that's kind of it in a group. Kim, I don't know if you have what I missed, but
Kim, do you have anything you want to add to that CCR and ours do?
No, I think in a nutshell, Brandy hit it, and I think it leads to my question anyways. Just around what we can do for providers in the renewal process. So a lot of that is, if you're expired on first aid CPR, you can call us. We all offer classes and or contract with somebody who offers those to get you hooked up, and we can help you find training. If you're needing hours to renew your ECP, we can help you through that renewal process. When it comes time to go online and renew your license, we can help you access that, but we also, all CCR&Rs have what we call reviewer access. So if you cannot get your license to submit, we can log on and see it from a reviewer standpoint and kind of see what's missing or why it won't let you go on. To make sure that you get that submitted, we can point you in the right direction to any forms that you may need. We could do your fingerprints, like Brandy said, whether it's you're due for your 5 years renewal, because a lot of providers are, or if it's just new staff. And yeah, that's Brandy and I kind of get to bleed into each other there a little bit.
I'm really curious for both of you. What would you say is the most common thing that providers come to you for?
For the renewal process or just in general?
Just for in general.
Well, I don't know if I could say most common because it's pretty much all over the board on any given day. Cool. Sometimes it's just help interpreting their ECP training record, or sometimes it can be help, with the licensing situation. Like, I don't know how to fix this, or can you help me with this? Sometimes it's just really simple, quick, like, I have a kiddo who's biting, what are some things I can do, all the way up to, not that that's simple, but all the way up to, more in-depth TA or coaching assistance. That's a super good question, but one I don't think I can answer very easily.
Yeah.
And we seem to provide a lot of TA too around Best Beginning scholarships and the provider portal, because the provider portal, even though it's strictly for like Best Beginnings things, it bleeds into provider services, and so yeah, we get a lot of that too.
And Kim, you did speak specifically to the STARS program. If you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit with the group about a good takeaway, something that they could use to try to meet their STARS numbers, and how to improve those numbers and that sort of thing.
Sure. So right now, that's a really hard question to answer because STARS to Quality is on hold.
Right.
So you can join, nobody can move up. So a lot of what I've been doing with just providers here, and maybe Brandy has some things too, is really like, are your trainings caught up? Is your new staff up to speed with what you need to be doing? What is your STAR level? It's really great right now. They're doing assessments for STAR 2 programs. So I've really seen a lot of providers that are like, hey, I can do this and I can move up. So really utilizing the tools that they have at their fingertips, even though they can't move, that when STARS comes off of hold,
Mhm.
having a head start on things.
Mhm. I love the program specifically because it does show the idea of quality, and that's one of the things that we're really trying to push here at Montana Child Care Business Connect, is that the business as a whole overall even is a part of that program, and keeping with the business side of things, making your business profitable, making your business long-term sustainable, and those sorts of things. And the STAR program is a big part of that. So that's really exciting. Fern, I'm going to throw this right back to you really quick and just ask for your insight on if there was one thing that you would wish that every provider that you go to see it has for you when you're there, what would that be?
Oh my. Proper safe sleep practices. That's a good one.
Good.
As far as paperwork or facility requirements, a written sign in, sign out sheet. There are so many providers are going to computer, which is a great tool, but please, please, please have a written number of how many children are present at any given time. So because of an emergency, you need to know how many kids to save. And so that's what I hope to see every time I walk into a facility, is to be able to see at a glance how many kids I'm looking for and be able to count them and see them.
Interesting.
And I've had it go both ways. In one circumstance, she had a written attendance sheet and it had 12 children signed in, and I was only counting 11, and I kept going and counting and counting and counting, and finally I said, I'm not finding the 12th child. Where is your 12th child? So she counted, and she only counted 11, and I'm like, what happened? Or we're missing somebody. And so she looked over the list. She was nervous because I make everybody nervous. It must be the hat. I don't know. But I make it, we're nervous. People are nervous when licensing's at their place. So she looked at her list, and a parent had picked up a child to go get for a doctor's appointment, and she hadn't signed the child. The parent hadn't signed the child out. So there wasn't 12 children present, but that's one of the reasons it makes it so important to have your daily attendance sheet accurate at all times.
Yeah. Well, gosh, I appreciate that. All right. Well, I want to open this up to our attendees today. And so we're going to give a few minutes of awkward silence. I'd love for someone to please come off mute. We have these experts here for you. If you have any questions that we can ask for a licensor, for our R&Rs, we really want to, is there services that you would like to have that you're not currently aware of, or maybe that you could suggest for these groups, please just we're going to sit here and wait and let you guys ask your questions. So the floor is open to our attendees.
Kendra, I was emailed a question if you'd like
cool.
me to do that.
I would love that.
Somebody's very shy. They'd like me to explain support plans. And
Okay.
I can only give the perspective of a licensor of a support plan. So maybe Kim and Brandy can follow up on what I say. But a support plan is put into place when we at licensing identify a topic that a provider might need a little extra help with. And needing help is not a bad thing. It's completely a good thing if you want to improve. And you know, an example of that could be my most recent support plan was a provider was having trouble, a director of a new center was having trouble keeping track of trainings and didn't understand how she could, you know when everybody's FBI 5 years was up and their 3-year reviews and if they'd taken the trainings or not. And so a support plan, the R&R here locally, the Nurturing Center had Excel spreadsheets that can help with that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They helped her set that up on her own system with her own people, and she was a happy camper. Voluntary support plans mean you as the provider agree that you'd like to have help with a certain topic and set up a plan with the licensor, and usually the R&R is involved too. A mandatory support plan is usually developed by the resource and referral agency after a licensor has identified a medium to high risk deficiency or violation of rule. And it might involve one-to-one training, taking a class or two, or rearranging environments to increase safety so another injury doesn't happen, something like that, all with the guidance of the expertise of the trainers at the R&Rs. So those are support plans. Brandy, Kim, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that sounds good. And I just want to say though that a program doesn't have to wait for a licensor to suggest a support plan, whether it's voluntary or not. If they need support in anything, they can certainly reach out to us and we can do that without having something formal as well.
That's excellent. So one thing I want to really hound on and highlight and bring home is that these are examples of people that should be on your bail team, on your support team for running your childcare business. And so Fern, contrary to what you said, I don't think you're very scary. And you should have a relationship with your licensor. So whether that be Fern or the licensor in your area, we really encourage that relationship and that it is time in your business to build and to bridge those gaps. And then again, I want to just really thank our CCR&Rs for the wonderful work, support, assistance, all the great things that you guys do for all of our childcares, because it is an ecosystem here where we need to see our childcares surviving and thriving here in Montana. So again, huge thanks to all 3 of our presenters today. I just want to end today with a couple quick reminders for you guys. We do have a great newsletter out there that does keep you up to date on a lot of things, all things childcare. We do encourage you, if you have not become a member of our newsletter, that you join it and keep on top of all the childcare, early childcare education things that are happening here in the state of Montana. We do have all these socials. You can follow us on the socials, and we do our best to keep you up to date on all things that are cool as well. And then here is our QR code for those of you who are on the training today for ECP credits. We do ask that you please either follow this link or click the QR code. Let us know how we're doing. It's important to us to know what you'd like to see in the future and other things as well, if this was beneficial and all of those. And with that, we are finished with our tiny training series on building our bail team.
Kendra, we had one more question in the chat pop up. I wanted to interrupt you. Sorry.
Oh, can you please throw it out there?
Yeah. So it's what classes are required before you open a daycare or take over one that is currently licensed?
Perfect.
I can answer that.
Perfect.
A new application has to, the caregivers all have to be current in their CPR first aid, be members of the practitioner registry, and take an infant safety essentials. Once those are done, then we approve you. We do the pre-inspection, we approve you, and then you have the 90 days to take the orientation classes, the 3 classes for orientation, and the provider, the director needs to take the program management for director course, which is now online only.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, we just want to say thanks to everyone and have a happy holidays. We are coming back late January with our next round of tiny training, so stay tuned and we will keep you informed. Have a good day, everyone.